We're also learning Banks donated $150,000 to Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson after he took office.
Campaign records showing that he donated $150,000 to the campaign of Brandon Johnson after he became mayor.
Lil Durk donated $150,000 to Mayor Brandon Johnson's campaign. And
we also learned today that Lil Durk donated $150,000 to Mayor Brandon Johnson's campaign in the past.
$150,000.
$150,000.
$150,000.
And so if you're asking me if I should make a judgment on a black man before a full trial has actually come to fruition, I hope you do understand why it is not my position to determine the outcome of someone's life.
Mayor Brandon Johnson is a hypocrite, everyone. Big surprise. He couldn't help himself. He was questioned about this $150,000 donation that came to his campaign. And what did he do? He went back to his old playbook of playing the race card. This man is such a hypocrite. And you're probably watching and you're probably asking yourself, what is this $150,000 donation that everyone is talking about? Where did it come from? Why is it such a big deal?
Very popular Chicago rapper is arrested in a murder-for-hire plot. Englewood native Lil Durk has won a Grammy Award. He just had a concert at the United Center 5 days ago, and last week he was given a key to the city in 2 different suburbs. But today, he was in a Florida courtroom facing a federal judge.
Banks was arrested in Miami last night, just 1 hour before the FBI learned he was going to board a private plane to Italy. It came the same day 5 of his hip-hop rap group members were arrested and indicted in Los Angeles for a murder-for-hire scheme. Devontae Dirk Banks, more commonly known as rapper Lil Durk of Chicago, was held this morning in a Broward County jail in Florida, charged with murder for hire. 5 members of his Chicago-based hip-hop group, Only the Family, or OTF members, are federally charged in Los Angeles in a murder-for-hire plot to kill rapper Quando Rondo. It's suspected that Rondo was involved in the 2020 slaying of rival rapper King Von, who is part of the OTF group with Banks.
Just for the record, and this is just my personal opinion, but you know, it's okay to have a stage name as a rapper or as a musician. And when you're on stage, if your name or if your stage name is Lil Durk or whatever it is, you know, I think that's fine for you to use that on stage. But could we please, on the news, could we please refer to people by their real names? We don't have to refer to people with their stage names when we're reporting the news, especially when we're reporting, you know, allegations like this. But let's continue.
A now unsealed criminal complaint in California described the OTF group as a hybrid organization that blurred the lines between a music group and a gang and alleges Banks ordered and paid for the murder of Rondo. According to the indictment, the hitman with OTF stalked Rondo and started shooting at him at an LA gas station. He survived, but his cousin died. The FBI officer's affidavit says law enforcement executed multiple search warrants at locations associated with OTF members around the Chicago area Thursday, and that's when the FBI learned Banks was booked on several international flights. One was a one-way from Miami to Dubai, the other from Fort Lauderdale to Switzerland. He didn't board either and was arrested an hour before getting on a private plane to Italy.
So I want to go on the record. Obviously, these are just allegations. He hasn't been tried. He has been arrested and he's being extradited back to California. But apparently he was doing some good things in the neighborhood, in neighborhoods around the city of Chicago. He had a nonprofit, and he was actually even very recently given a key to 2 different villages. One village, Broadview, is the village where I grew up as a child. So this story immediately caught my attention, and this is what happened when he got the key to the villages of both Broadview and Bellwood.
Last week, Lil Durk was celebrated by 2 West suburban mayors. They even gave the rapper keys to their villages and partnered with his foundation.
Dirk Banks, or Lil Durk, was honored and celebrated last week with keys to the villages of Bellwood and Broadview.
And so on behalf of the village of Broadview, we are honored to present this key to the city to Dirk Banks, neighborhood heroes.
Both mayors were on hand for the ceremony and took time to pose for pictures. A partnership with the rapper's foundation was announced in front of students from both communities.
This is a momentous occasion to have Lil Durk with us. in our communities. We want to give them another round of applause.
So both of these mayors, the mayors of both the villages of Broadview and Bellwood, gave this ceremonial token, key to the village, to Lil Durk. But when these allegations came out, at least one of these mayors came out immediately and made a statement because she didn't want to have this negative association with the village with the allegations against this rapper. Let's take a look at this.
After Lil Durk was arrested in Florida, Broadview's mayor withdrew the honor, saying in part, as mayor, protecting Broadview's interests and upholding the values of residents is job number one.
You even have some local residents in both Broadview and Bellwood who have come out on the record, and they've expressed their concerns about how did we even get to the point as a village, how did the villages of both Broadview and Bellwood, which are near west suburbs of Broadview, how did they even come to the point where they were giving something to this rapper from the city of Chicago? And remember, we're going to come full circle to this whole issue of the hypocrisy of Brandon Johnson. But I want you to see, again, how people are responding in Broadview and Bellwood.
So are we glorifying that, or are we saying that that's okay?
He's not even from this. He's from the South Side.
It just doesn't send the best message to our residents, to our community.
You know, so what about the people that have been active in our communities, that have done some great things in our communities?
Here's the difference between the mayors of Broadview and Bellwood and the mayor of the city of Chicago. The only thing that the mayors of Broadview and Bellwood did was that they gave this young man an award. They gave him a ceremonial key to the village. I'm sure they heard about the things that he was doing, the positive things that he was doing in the community for young black inner city youth. And, you know, there's a sizable African-American population in both the villages of Broadview and Bellwood. So, you know, these mayors are trying to, I guess, remain relevant to their constituents. They're trying to get young people involved. So they found this young rapper from Chicago for whom the youth had an affinity, and they used this as a photo op so they could, you know, appear to be in touch with what's going on and appear to be, you know, in the know or in the loop. But again, these two mayors from Broadview and Bellwood, the worst thing that can be, the worst accusation that could be leveled against them is that they gave Lil Durk an award. Brandon Johnson, on the other hand, he took $150,000 in the form of a campaign donation. Now, if the mayor of the village of Broadview can say, we are going to rescind our ceremonial key to the village just because of the appearance of impropriety, then it seems fairly obvious, and Brandon Johnson wouldn't be the first if he did this, but it would seem fairly obvious to me that just to avoid the appearance of impropriety, that you give the $150,000 back and or you donate it to another charity, so that way you're on the record saying, if these allegations are true, I as mayor, and by extension the city of Chicago, do not want to appear to be endorsing the antisocial behavior of Lil Durk by accepting his money. But when he was asked at the press conference, hey, are you going to keep this money? This is how he answered.
You were given, about a month after taking office, a $150,000 campaign donation from him. Do you feel like you should donate that to charity or do something with that money? Is it tainted?
Well, I mean, you know, look, I don't operate in feelings.
Again, one of his non-answers, dances around, well, hems and haws. Again, just very, very disappointing. But when really pressed on it, when he felt like his back was against the wall and he had to give an answer, he goes back to that old well of deflection, the race card.
But again, what I do know for sure is that, you know, here's another example of a young black man who grew up in severe trauma. Look, what will
you do with the money?
Well, as I said, right now we have allegations right? That he has not been tried.
You feel it's okay to keep the money?
You're asking me a question about someone who has worked to transform his life. And so if you're asking me if I should make a judgment on a black man before a full trial has actually come to fruition, I hope you do understand why it is not my position to determine the outcome of someone's life.
And that's what makes Brandon Johnson such a huge hypocrite. He would rather stand in front of this reporter when asked about whether or not you're going to give this money back. He would rather defend Lil Durk and say, hey, he hasn't been tried yet. He hasn't been convicted. So we don't know the outcome of what's going on. So it would be improper of me to say something against a black man and he's grew up with trauma and all of these other excuses. But this man is mayor of the third largest city in the United States. He can never take a definitive stand against crime if the perpetrators of that crime are black. He just cannot do it. And he is doing a disservice to so many innocent Chicagoans who have to live their lives looking over their shoulders and wondering if they're going to make it home, or wondering if they're going to make it when they're riding the subway, or when they're riding the train, or when they're riding the bus, or when they're walking home late at night. All of these Chicagoans have to constantly live in fear, and that fear is compounded by the fact that the mayor in the city of Chicago, Mayor Brandon Johnson, would rather make excuses for and stick up for criminals rather than defending the innocent. And on top of that, he received $150,000 in the form of a campaign donation. He can't even give that away give it away to a charity. You don't even have to give it back, but get it out of your campaign coffers so no one can accuse you of anything. But he can't hold bad behavior accountable when that bad behavior is perpetrated by a black person. And he thinks that he's doing that to help them. And in trying to help this small group of people who are the criminals, he's actually hurting all of us. If you're still hanging out at this point, do me a favor, you know what the ask is, hit that subscribe button. It is completely free, doesn't cost you a penny, but it does help our channel. It does help our channel grow. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. Our goal was to try and get to it by the end of the month. So hit that subscribe button, turn on your notification bell, and guess what? Go ahead and leave a comment. I respond to all comments. And for those of you who have left comments, again, it's been great interacting with you. So leave a comment. Like I said, I will respond. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the month. We're about a little bit over 20% there. So hitting that subscribe button would really help us. In the meantime, you can check out either one of these two videos, and we'll catch you in the next one.